All right, so today we're going to be talking about 6 steps to generate high quality leads for your business. Now, when we start talking about lead generation, what do I mean by that? Lead generation is really the process that marketers use to attract and identify their target market. So, we got to think about it. Like there's, I believe, 7 billion people on planet Earth. And the reality is the vast majority of them are not the right fit for us, for our business. And that's not an insult. That's not say anything bad about you. That's just truth. I mean, the vast majority of people are not going to be a fit for you. So what do you have to do is you can't just waste all your time and effort chasing down a bunch of people that are the wrong fit, that are not the right people. What you have to do is you have to identify who are those people that are the people that I can serve, who are the right types of customers for me, and how do I get in touch with those people? So lead generation is most successful when you qualify your leads to ensure the people you're identifying are part of your target market. So that it's kind of like, how do I know? You got to qualify these people. You got to get people in, because none of us can be more disappointed, frustrated, discouraged. We have someone that gets on a call with us about possibly hiring us to do something, and then 5 minutes into the call, we go, oh no, this person is never going to become a client. They're never going to do it. So how do we qualify people? How do we get the people to our stuff that are actually going to be a good candidate? They're going to be a good fit for what it is that we're doing. So this is how we kind of go about the process of doing this. And this is kind of the steps that you can go through and you can use for your own business. Now, the first thing we want to talk about here is the type of leads that we're talking about. There's really 2 main types of leads. The first one is a marketing qualified lead. And what we mean by that is this is a lead that showed interest in your marketing materials, but likely isn't ready to buy yet. So in other words, this could be someone who downloaded something, a PDF that you had. Maybe they downloaded or they watched a webinar that you did. They're on your email list is usually what that means. I mean, these are people kind of nibbling around the edges. They've definitely raised their hand. They've definitely shown some interest in it, but they're not to that buying stage yet. They're really just kind of following from a distance yet at this point. So they've shown some interest, but they aren't ready to buy. And then there's sales qualified leads. And this is a person who's shown a clear interest in your service or your product. And maybe they went all the way through your sales funnel and then emailed you a question rather than finishing their purchase process. So really what this is all about is you got to think about, this is a person who's gone a step further. This is a person that is a lot more ready to actually take a step forward and maybe just needs a few questions answered. So we got to think about those are 2 types of leads. There's the leads that are going to just get on your email list and they're going to sit on your email list. And there's people who are actually ready to take action and make a purchase and do something. So we got to keep in mind who we're even within our targeted leads, we're going to qualify them and segment them into those 2 buckets. We're going to know who are just the people who are interested in learning more, and we got to keep warming those people up and keep developing that relationship with them until we can get more of them into the sales qualified lead side, where they're actually going to be moved to the point where, hey, we're actually seriously considering buying this. We're seriously considering doing this. So why are leads so important? Lead generation is important for growing your business because it allows you to identify and separate your target market from everyone else who's seeing your ads or visiting your website. So again, if you do a video, if you go online, if you post something on your Facebook page, or you put out a blog post, all sorts of people can come and read that. All sorts of people can come and check out your website, can do certain things. Now, what we want to do is there's going to be lots of people that do that over the course of time. What we're really trying to do is we're trying to figure out, again, we're trying to take all those people. How many people are actually serious enough to even put their name and email in? How many people are even serious to do that? Because we have the big bucket of people who are just curious onlookers, and then we have the bucket of people who are going to be serious enough to actually establish contact and join your email list, and then we're going to have a bucket of people who are actually more serious about actually buying. So this is a way about us being able to identify what we have and being able to identify that. And once these people are on your list, these leads become what we call traffic that you own. And what we mean by that is these are leads that, because you have their contact information, you can email them whenever you want. So, for example, we all know Facebook's become kind of contentious over the last several weeks, and it can be kind of difficult and a lot of things going on there. Well, what we've got to understand is that's not a platform that we own. That's not traffic that we own. So if you have a huge following on one of these social media platforms, if they decide one day to not let you post anymore, or they decide to shut you down or shut down your ad account, guess what? That's a hard thing and that's a problem. But the reality is that that was never traffic that you owned. Once we get them on our email list, you can send them emails anytime you want. And now, granted, they can unsubscribe if they don't want to continue hearing your information and seeing your things. That's totally fine. But this is now something that you're not dependent upon a social media network cooperating for you to be able to speak to your audience. So that's why it's really important to get these people on your own platform, to get these people on your own list. So how do we get these leads? How do we get high quality leads for our business? Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to identify your target market. So these are people who will be most naturally interested in the products or services you've created. Again, we got to be thinking about who are the people that, if I think of who is my ideal client, who would be that person that would be most likely to be interested in my stuff, in my products, in my services, in the things that I do. Who are those people? Who are the people that are most likely? Where do they live? What industry do they work in? Is there certain types of industries that they're likely to be involved in? What are their biggest challenges and what are their dreams and desires? We need to start identifying these people. We need to create an avatar for these people. We need to kind of paint a picture so that we know some character. Again, obviously, every person's different. I know that. We're not trying to put everyone in one bucket. But what we have to do is we have to start looking for some common traits. We have to start looking for some things that are going to take the 7 billion people bucket and narrow it down to a smaller bucket that actually makes a whole lot more sense for us to target. And we got to identify characteristics and qualities and demographics and attributes, hopes and fears and dreams and challenges and pains, all these types of things. We need to create a picture of that so that we can at least know who it is that we're going to try and target. Once we do that, the second step then is to start finding those people. So now we know what they look like. Now we kind of have an idea who our dream customers are. We got to figure out where are they? Where are they hanging out? Where are they spending time online? So again, once we know, like, these are things that they like, this is what they kind of look like, this is kind of what their lifestyle is like, this is generally where they live, we want to start thinking about some people that are influencers. And I'd like you to think of 5 influencers that your dream customers would pay attention to. So what are 5 thought leaders, 5 influencers that your dream customers would likely pay attention to? What are 5 Facebook groups that your dream customers would probably be engaging in? What are 5 podcasts that they would likely be listening to? Because what we need to do is we need to find, and again, a lot of times I use a fishing analogy because I think, I'm a farm kid. I understand. I grew up on a farm, but fishing and marketing have a lot of similarities in their approach. If I'm going to be able to reach these people, I got to know what ponds those fish are in. If I'm going to go fishing for bass, I need to go to a bass pond, a pond that has bass fish in it. If I want to go to fish for crappie, I need to go to a lake where crappie are, and so on and so forth. I got to know where they are. I got to know what groups they're congregating in. And so a lot of this is going to become an issue of where do these people, where do they hang out? What thought leaders are they following? So when you think about the thought leaders or the influencers, what are the pages on Facebook or other social media platforms that these people would likely be following, that they would be reading, that they would be consuming content from? What groups are they likely to be in? What podcasts? Again, all of these are going to tell us, like, where are these people hanging out? We know now a little bit what they look like because we built kind of an avatar for them. Now that we kind of know what they look like, where are they spending their time? Where are they hanging out? Because now we got to be able to target them. We got to be able to get our marketing message to them. So find where they are, know who they are, and now find out where they are. Then the third step is to design a lead magnet. Design something like a product, a presentation, or service that you can offer for free or at a massive discount in exchange for that person's contact information. Again, doing all this completely in line with who these people are, and then you're going to send that, offer these things. You're going to target the people in all these groups that you've identified. So again, we want to think about what are the people that are, who are these people and what do they need? What would be something that would be really valuable to them? How could I create a free download? How could I create a presentation? How could I do something that these people are going to say, this is hugely valuable to me? We're going to design our lead magnet fully with them in mind. And again, our lead magnets should be something that are simple, straightforward, and easy to understand. We don't want to make these complicated. We don't want to make these too complex so that people get confused about things. We want to make everything very simple, clear, and desirable to them. So these types of things can be ebooks. You could give away a free ebook, a book. A lot of times when people see book funnels, that's what a book funnel is. A book is being used as the lead magnet for your book funnel. You're giving away your book at a massive discount in exchange for that person's contact information and a few dollars. You could give a guide. It could, like, my 5 best steps for doing whatever, a tool that you've developed for them, something that you could give away for free or very, very low cost that these people are going to say, I really want this. This is great. Let me have access to that. You could do a free consultation if it's more of a high ticket thing. If it's something that's much more hands-on, you could do a free consultation to help them solve a certain problem. It could be a free trial. This is especially valuable for if you have something that's like an ongoing membership, or if you do anything with software or anything like that. If you're selling something that has a membership, you could, like, to a group, to a coaching group, to a member, to like a site that has all sorts of training type things that are going to be added to all the time. You can give a few day, 30-day trial or something like that to get people into the program, to get them started. And also a free webinar. Webinars are lead magnets. You may not have always thought about it that way, but that's what they are. It's a free training that helps them solve a problem. And then at the end of that webinar, you actually are doing an offer. So, but the beginning of it is, it's a lead magnet. You're getting them to put in their name and email in exchange for a valuable content that is going to be something that will help them. So now we know what our dream customer looks like. We know where they're hanging out. And now we've designed a lead magnet with them in mind, something that we know is going to be very attractive and useful to them. And again, I'll say this again, I've said it many times in the past, what kind of lead magnet should you do? Depends on your market. Every market needs different things. Every market, every type of customer, everybody doing different in different spaces is going to need to design something that fits and makes sense for their target market. You don't think that there's only one way to do it, because there's a lot of ways to do this. And you need to think of, my people like engaging like this. They like doing things in this type of way. So then meet them in that vein. Meet them. If they really like a downloadable checklist or a downloadable guide, then that's what you should be producing. If they really like trainings and webinars, then that's what you should do. So think about your market when you think about how to design your lead magnet. And then the 4th step is, once you have your lead magnet, now we're going to put it into a sales funnel. And a sales funnel is really just a series of pages where your prospect is offered the opportunity to purchase your products and services. So this is really, when you think about a webinar funnel. So a webinar funnel is, again, we have our lead magnet, which is the free training. Come in and learn all about this valuable information that's going to be very helpful to you. And then at the end of the webinar, we make them an offer, because throughout the webinar, we're changing their beliefs, we're changing their views, we're changing the way they see things. And then at the end of that, they are offered the opportunity to solve the problem and to solve the thing that they need by purchasing the product or the program or whatever it is that we're offering at the end. A lead magnet funnel. Again, too many times people just create a lead magnet funnel where it's, hey, get my free resource, and all it is enter your name and email and a thank you page, and that's it. They don't do anything else with it. You can, on the thank you page, turn that into something that, hey, here's an offer to also get this, and it's at a very discounted price. You can put on something on the thank you page. That lead magnet doesn't have to end after they download it. It doesn't have to end right there in that moment. They don't have to have a name and email, thank you, check your email. It doesn't have to be that small. It can be expanded. You can have another page to it that makes an offer after they download the lead magnet. It could be a challenge funnel. Now, I've done all sorts of 5-day challenges. Same type of idea. Like the 5-day challenge is the lead magnet. that 5-day challenge was what you can put out there to say, I'm going to, in this 5 days, you're going to learn X, 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 and X, and all these things, you're going to come out of it and join it. And then the last day in the challenge is a training, which invites them to apply, which invites them to take the next step to join your program, to buy your product, whatever that is. So again, we're tapping into all this. Or it could be a survey funnel, or an assessment type funnel. This is one where, you ask people a bunch of questions, and at the end of this survey, they're going to learn something about themselves. They're going to learn something about something that's important to them, something that's valuable to them. So they take this survey and they go through it. And then at the end, you not only give them some results about what they've learned about themselves, you also then offer them the ability to take the next step. You offer them a solution like, hey, this is where you're at. This is what it's like. And a survey funnel is really interesting because you can actually create multiple offers at the end. So based on how someone answers a certain question, you can have one question, like if the 3 answers, if you answer A, I'm going to send you to this sales page at the end because it's going to speak specifically to your situation. If you answer B, a different page. If you answer C, it'll be yet a different page. So there's a way that you can even customize it based on people's answers in the survey, where you can even have the same offer, but you can change your marketing message so that it meets the people as they're going through the survey funnel. Then once you do that, this is where I think most people fall. This is the part where most people fall off and don't keep going and don't keep up the process. Most sales are not made on the first touch. Okay, this is where I think most people start. They put out something, they get someone on the email list. Oh, they didn't buy. Okay, well, I guess it didn't work. I guess it's a fail. No, that's not really true. That's not how the process works. Most sales are not made on the first touch. So you need to continue following up with your leads. You need to continue contact. You need to continue doing things that will allow your relationship to continue to being built. And here's a few stats for you to just kind of emphasize that point. Typically, about 2% of sales are made on the first contact. So you think about this. If you did a recorded webinar and you sent a bunch of people to your recorded webinar and you say, well, only 2% of the people that went through actually bought the thing that I was offering. And you would say, yes, that's true. That's about normal. About only 2% of them will actually do that. 5% are made on the third contact. So still, we're on like a couple contacts down the road. We're still only up to about 5%. 10% are made after about the 4th contact, and 80% of sales are made after the 5th through the 12th contact. So my point here is that just because someone says no on round 1 doesn't mean they're a no. It doesn't mean they won't buy from you, but a lot of times they're just not there yet. They're not in that point in the relationship where they're ready to say yes. So the point here is that you can't just quit, send people to your funnel and then quit. No, you need to come back to them. You need to keep building that relationship. You need to continue to make offers to them and maybe state the offer a little bit differently. Maybe put it in a different format. Maybe say it in a different way so that things are, approached from a different angle, or they connect with it in a way they didn't think about before. So we got to continue it. And this is why having the email list is so critical. You have these people on your email list, and even though 98% of the ones that came through said no on the first contact, you can still continue to remarket to them. You can continue to send them emails, and you can even build this as a ongoing funnel. You can even build this as an evergreen email sequence. So like anybody who enters this funnel, they go through this. If they don't buy, then they get put in this email sequence, and they're going to get this ongoing set of emails that's going to continue to make offers to them, that's going to continue to touch them and connect with them. And you're going to see a lot more sales come through by doing that. Because once people come through after a while, I mean, it's happened to me so many times, is that, you know what, I've just gotten so much value out of this person's, out of hearing from them. I've gotten so much value out of reading their stuff, after watching their videos, after all these different things. Now I'm ready to do something. Now I'm ready to take the step. Now I'm ready to go because I'm comfortable. I'm much more comfortable with that person, and I feel like I can trust them. I know I can trust them a lot better than I used to, than I did at the beginning. and now I'm ready to buy. And that's where so many of these funnels fail, right here. We don't stay with it long enough. We don't keep it up. We don't keep the process going. We think, oh, I offered it to them, they didn't buy, I guess it didn't work. Well, it didn't work on round 1, but that doesn't mean that it won't work on round 5. If you continue to touch with them, you continue to build that relationship. And then the last key to all this is to keep driving traffic to your funnel. So to have success, you really need to drive as much qualified traffic as possible to your funnel. Plain and simply, you need to get people there. You need to have consistent traffic going to your funnel, to have people continue to go through it, to have people to continue to build and to go through the steps and to continue to do these things if you're going to have success, to have people continue to go through the process. And again, there are 3 ways to get traffic. You can build your traffic. Again, some people try to make this very complicated. At the end of the day, there's only 3 ways to get traffic. One is to build, which means you go on social media, you post videos, you post posts, you post different contact, you do all these different things, and you put all this stuff out there, and you naturally, organically build an audience because people start to follow you, because people start to listen to you, because people want to know more and more from you, and your content is being engaged with, your content is being connected with, and that starts to build your audience, people who are specifically following you. The next way is to borrow your traffic, and that is to develop relationships with other thought leaders. It's to develop relationships with other people who are in your space, and then get them to agree to maybe interview you, to get them to agree to have you on their podcast, to get them to agree to do a Facebook Live video with you, to have something that goes out. Maybe they'll send an email out to their list on your behalf. All of these are ways we've used many times in the past that you can use to go and go tap into someone else's audience that they've already built and borrow their traffic and pull that over to you so that you can start doing it. And then the last way to do this is to buy your traffic. Buying your traffic is simply going in and running ads to all these audiences. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I know this one thought leader that I really want to get in front of their audience, but they don't really want to partner with me. They don't want to let me get in front of their audience and do a joint webinar with them or do a video with them or be on their podcast. I've tried. They've said, no problem. Through ads, you can still send your offer to their audience. So for example, if there's an audience on Facebook of people and it's a thought leader and you haven't been able to get in to get them to promote you or to share your stuff, you can then just go run ads to that audience. So even if that person will not let you borrow their audience and borrow their traffic, you can buy your way into their audience and you can run ads directly to their audience and you can market directly to your audience. So again, think about the process. Identify who your target customer is, figure out what they look like, what's the avatar for them, figure out where they're living, where do they hang out online? In other words, not physically, but where do they hang out online? How can you create a lead magnet for them? That's going to be something that's valuable to them. Put that lead magnet into a sales funnel process so that you can send them through and they can see your offers. Follow up on that traffic, go through it and get people, continue to follow up, continue to have retargeting, continue to reach out and develop that relationship, and then keep driving traffic to your funnel. That's how it's done. That is how this process is done. It may seem more complicated than that. It may seem like it should be magic, but it's really not. It really isn't magic. It's pretty simple, to be honest, in a lot of ways. You go, you get there, and the more you're doing this, the more you continue to follow this process, the bigger your audience gets. The bigger your audience gets, the more your own foundation grows, and the more that happens, the more you can build off of that, and you have your own organic, natural audiences to build from. And it starts to be like a snowball that just keeps accumulating over time. So,
yeah. Wow. I mean, like you said in other trainings, David, I mean, it's not necessarily that this is hard. To me, as I'm watching, your presentation, I'm thinking strategy, right? It's thinking about what's the end and how do I get from here to there with my audience. And I think the point of giving up too soon is probably where so many of us do fall short is we get discouraged. We don't realize that entrepreneurialism is really about testing a lot of different things. It's about what headline worked, what copy worked, what ad worked, what pool of people, like you said, it was in the right pond. You might have a great offer just in the wrong place. And I think so much of that, right, is this journey that we're on of refining that and really needing the help to really see from a fresh perspective a lot of times, because I think we can get so and buried in our own thing of what we love or what we think that we kind of get blind to what our audience really needs or is interested in. And I've heard it said, it's kind of the curse of knowledge, right? When you know too much about something, you lose sight of what connects with people on where they are today. So
yeah, I agree. I think you're dead on with the place that most people fall off the wagon is they quit too soon. Yeah. And that realizing, and again, I know from my own experience, how many times have I joined someone's program, have I bought something, but it wasn't because I saw it on day one. It so often for me even doesn't happen on day one. I get exposed to something. I want to learn more about who is this person? What are they about? What other things are they saying? And then once I get used to them, I'm more like, oh, they have a lot of really good stuff here. They're really helpful. They're really valuable. This is really useful. And as a result, I want to join this program. I want to be part of this because I can see the value that they have. I can see the value of what they're doing. And now I'm ready to join. And that's the continuous follow-up. That's the continued building of the relationship.
Yeah.
And I fully believe that's where most people quit. They just don't stay and keep building that relationship.
Well, that's just it. Can you hear me okay? My earbud died and okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and I think that's just it. I mean, even as I've been doing some continued learning myself, the whole relational dynamic is something that's really been resonating with me recently. Is we wouldn't treat a person face to face like we often treat them online, because it would be so awkward. So we have to start thinking about it that way, that our email sequences, our follow-ups, and all the things that we do after they opt in is building that relationship, it's building that trust, that credibility. Now, some people, they might connect right away and go, you know what, I need this so bad, and you've got a solution for me. And it's like they jump right to buying, right? But there's a lot of people who there's a lot of hesitancy, I'll say, online with people like, is this real? Is this, they want to, it's almost like, even if they think they trust you, do they trust the internet, right? It's almost like spamming
or even the industry that you're in, right? The industry that you're even in. Do I trust coach? Like if you're a coach, a life coach, like, do I think life coaches are good? What do I think of life coaches? Like, do I think they're good people? Do I think they're honest and decent and helpful people? Do I think life coaches are a good solution in general? Not even about you, but about in general. Do I think this is a good option? Because even if I think you're probably good, I may think as a general rule, anybody who goes and does that is probably not making the right choice. Well, that's a hurdle you have to overcome too.
Sure. Yeah. So even removing those barriers, right, and showing them how it's about, a lot of it's about, they have to go over their own limiting beliefs about, are they worth it? Is it worth the investment? Hurdle. One of the things as a coach, I mean, I think that one of the hurdles that coaches have is, trying to show an ROI. What is that return on that investment? And if it's not a business coach where you say, okay, I'm going to invest X amount of dollars, I'm going to expect that I'm going to earn X amount of income. So like when you say, when it's life coaching, then you have to frame it differently. You have to say, okay, how would it be if a year from now you're in the same exact place today, then as you are today? Are you okay with that? And so you have to look at that return differently in some different industries, products and services, right? I mean, we have a lot of folks in here that are selling products or maybe doing networking marketing, products, and they have great things to offer. But network marketing sometimes has had a stigma just in general based on certain companies that have kind of done it poorly in the past. And so you have to overcome some of those hurdles. So yeah, to me, it's like, I think everybody in this group has great things to offer, but we can't think just about, even our product or service, we have to think about what are the objections, what are the struggles, and that the relationship building starts to break those down. And I think that's, to me, it's for are you interested in the thing to get that lead magnet in the first place? And then it's how long are you going to nurture that relationship till they really believe that either you're valuable or that they're worth investing in, that you have a solution for. So yeah, it's a journey, right? It's really a relational journey with your prospects and your customers. So like David said, don't give up too soon, because it's the whole, the analogy of 3 feet from gold, and you keep digging through the mine and you turn around because you're frustrated, and we get it, it's easy to get there. I think there's this tipping point, David. I don't know where you saw it in your own journey, but it's like there was one moment where I remember going, I've come so far that if I go back, it's almost like I'm in no man's land, like I'm not there yet, but if I go back, it's a long trip too, and I know how I felt back then. So do I stop and go backwards, or do I keep moving forward and keep digging, keep chiseling away? And I think a lot of our folks may be in that place of like, okay, it's not what I want yet, but I got to keep moving, or I've got to quit. And those are really my options right now.
Right. Well, and I think too, just from an ROI perspective, I think that to me is one of the big holes that people fall in, is like they do that initial push, they do that initial campaign, and it's like, okay, I'm going to go and I am going to, do this campaign. I'm going to run an ad. I'm going to run traffic to my funnel, and you spend this much money and it didn't generate enough to satisfy you and make it be successful. Your sales didn't meet your expectations, and so you think it failed. Well, it's possible that you just have to keep following up with some of these people. It's possible that you have to keep building that relationship with them. So sometimes our definition and our ability to think about ROI and a return on our investment of what we're putting in for money and time needs to have a little longer time horizon. Because sometimes we think, well, I tried it in the very first thing and it didn't work, so it failed. Well, right. We may need to just think about a longer term. We now have these people on the email list. We can keep nurturing them. We can keep communicating with them. We can keep adding value to them and helping them. And then as time goes on, they may be ready. They may be more comfortable and ready to make that choice. And as a result, now now that lead, honestly, that came in 3 months ago is a buyer. Well, that's still from that campaign that we thought that failed. Right. They're now a buyer, but it just took them longer to get to the buying process than it did the first people, like the 2% that are like, yeah, I'm ready. I'll buy right now. I want this, because that's
and I think it's something I heard somebody say the other day that was helpful to me was, we can invest a lot of time in our email campaigns, even if it's one-off broadcast, trying to, to nurture that email list. But we are still one email in that person's filled inbox a lot of times. And so as long as people aren't unsubscribing, you're still having an opportunity to connect with them. And I know I get a lot of emails that I honestly don't read a lot of emails from some of these people that I get them from, but I don't unsubscribe, because I still want I believe that they have good things to offer, and I want to stay connected to them. It's just that, kind of like you said, it's like right now, not the time. There's nothing that they have at this moment that I feel like I need at this moment, but I do value them, and they're offering value in a lot of different ways. And so I'm not ready to say I'm unsubscribing, because I do connect with them. So folks, we guys have to remember that people are going to be all along the path of the relationship you're building with them. Some people are early adopters. Some people are late adopters, and there's the majority are right in the middle. And so, like you said, David, I think that 5 to 12 range, right, of contact is something that we have to keep in mind, because we want instant results, and I get it. I'm an impatient person. I want to do something and find instant success, but rarely does that happen.
Right. I agree. And that's where your mindset becomes the key. Do you have the fortitude to stay and to just keep going, and the fortitude to stay in it and to keep building and going on this relationship and on this journey, to keep not giving up and keep going. And honestly, if you want to know like if you want to ask me, like, what do I see as one of the main characteristics of people who are successful versus people who just never seem to have success? The one character attribute that I would point to more than anything else, more than skill, more than contacts, more than any of those other things, is persistence. The people who are successful just keep taking action. And you know what? Then all their action may not be great. Maybe they make some mistakes. Maybe they do some things. Could have did that a lot better. You know, it wasn't too fantastic, but you're continuing to take action. You're continuing to do things. You're continuing to take steps forward, and as a result, you're learning, and you're getting results, and you're getting feedback on those results that you get, and so you keep getting better and better and better. And the more you do that, the more you're moving into the world of being able to have success. And so to me, that's what I'm trying to say too with all these marketing campaigns, is just because out of the very first shot you didn't get enough sales doesn't mean that those people won't buy. It doesn't mean that that's a dead issue, that they won't come back and buy this. It just means they didn't on the very first pass. And if you keep building that relationship, add value, don't be salesy the whole time. Don't just keep buy my stuff, just keep hitting them with the same thing. You got to come out, be valuable. You got to be useful. You got to add good things to them so that they want to hear from you. Otherwise, if it's just sales the whole time, they're going to unsubscribe and say, I'm tired of being sold all the time. But just keep adding value and approach it from a different perspective. Keep circling back around. And eventually they're going to see the value in it. And they're going to say, yeah, wow, okay, I see this. I want to do this.